Well, hello everyone. Today I am going to talk about how dopamine is holding you back from achieving your goals and your dreams, your desires, your ambitions. So, if you feel like you've been stuck in a rut as of recently where you're just being lazy and you're not doing what you know you need to do, then this video might just help you out. So stick around. And basically, I just want to give you a little workflow to help you out of a rut. Like we've all been there, we've all been in stages where we just cannot muster up the willpower or the discipline to do what we know we need to do. And we've always been there. It's almost like we have like two sides of ourselves, where one side we're just like completely like focused and disciplined, and we do what needs to be done, and the other side is just like we're just like completely lazy and you're doing like whatever, right? And basically, I hope after this video, I can help you like manage your motivations and willpower and discipline a little bit better. So, one thing you have to understand is that in life, everything is cause and effect. Nothing can just exist, like nothing can just come into fruition out of thin air. Every single effect has a cause, right? That's what you need to understand. So today, the main one we're gonna talk about is dopamine, right? This is one of the things. This is not all. There's a few other things that you need to keep in mind, but today's video is just going to be focused on this one. So, yeah, dopamine. The first thing we're going to talk about is a dopamine deficit state. Gonna have to excuse the slow writing here. But basically, what is dopamine? I'm sure most of you know already by now. Dopamine is a neurochemical that is released when we engage in activities that produce gratification. What that makes us happy. When we do things that make us happy, dopamine is released. I think basically everyone here already knows this. It's just old knowledge, common knowledge at this point. And so, when you do something like, you eat some fast food, or maybe, you scroll some social media, a lot of dopamine is released because these are activities that give you gratification, right? So, but there's a huge drawback to engaging in these activities, like, watching Netflix or scrolling social media all day. And the way I can explain it is, let's say you're someone that likes eating spicy food and you put a lot of spice in your food. And over time, that level of spice you used to put in your food will no longer feel spicy to you. So you start adding more spice and more and more and more. And after many years of this, you have such a huge spice tolerance that, when you go and like eat some regular food made by someone that might not be a spice lover, it just tastes bland to you or sweet or something because you're just used to so much spice. It feels bland to you, right? This is how it is. We just grow numb to it, right? So if you've been gorging on dopamine, like you've been like constantly taking in dopamine, then work will feel excruciating. And let me try and show that here. So this is you. Let's say this is you. And when you do things, wait, let me just move this down a little bit. And let's say when you do things like, watch Netflix or scroll social media or, eat some junk food, then what happens is this produces a lot of dopamine. So, your level of dopamine would probably look something a little like this. It's a lot of dopamine, right? And then after this, when you try to go to work, like let's say this is you and sitting on your chair, there's a table here with your computer, and you're trying to work here. Okay, let's just imagine you're trying to work here. Work. You see this, the issue is this only produces this amount of dopamine. So now when you try to do this, when you try to work, your brain just freaks out because your brain thinks, oh my God, what the hell are we doing? Whatever we're doing right now gives us no dopamine. Why the hell would we continue? Why the hell would we continue to do it? Right? It's just excruciating because work doesn't give us nearly as much dopamine as some of these other activities might, like, like I said, social media or like Netflix or something like that. And it it's very bad, of course. And this really hinders us in a lot of ways. Like when your brain is like so overflowed with dopamine, it'll literally make you like blind to your own goals. Let's say you have a certain set of like things you want to accomplish in your life, maybe this year, you have your yearly goals. When your brain is just flooded with dopamine like this, you literally cannot even see them. So how are you going to work towards achieving them if you can't even see what you're working for, right? You can't. And the reason why staying in a low level of dopamine is so excruciatingly painful for us is because dopamine is actually a good indicator for survival, like in the amygdala part of our brain. It thinks that, the more dopamine an activity produces, the better suited is, the better suited that activity is to our survival. So obviously we're gonna want to do things that actually gives us dopamine as opposed to things that do not. So what do we need to do in the situation? Basically, we need to do what's called a dopamine fast. Otherwise, you can also call this a dopamine detox. This is the terminology that is more commonly used today, but I like the word fast because I think a lot of people are familiar with fasting and what it means, but some people might not know what detox means, right? So I like the term dopamine fast. So basically, what you're gonna do is nothing. For 24 hours, you're going to do absolutely nothing. You're not gonna work out. You're not gonna go out. You're not gonna freaking like use any sort of social media or watch any movies or talk to your friends or meet anyone or anything. All you're gonna do for 24 hours is sit in your room and drink some water, maybe eat some good food, maybe once, right? So basically, for 24 hours, you do nothing. You do absolutely nothing. And what happens as a result of this is, let's say your dopamine levels were here after like a lot of gorging on it, after doing a lot of mindless things, like watching Netflix or things like that. And what happens after a 24-hour fast is that your dopamine levels drop all the way down here, right? Now, why is this a good thing? So basically, after your dopamine level drops down so much, the first thing that you do after this 24-hour period is gonna produce a lot of dopamine because you've had none for the last 24 hours, right? So basically, what you're gonna do after this 24-hour period is immediately get to work, right? Now this work is gonna produce some dopamine. And so your brain will like associate doing the work with making dopamine. So obviously you're gonna wanna do work. This is literally all you wanna do. It's amazing. And literally everything will seem more interesting. So even like reading a book, let's say you find reading books like boring as hell, but then after a dopamine fast like this, it's gonna be interesting to you all of a sudden. It's amazing. It's literally gonna change your entire worldview. Even the simplest of things you'll find enjoyable after a dopamine fast. So it is quite literally life-changing, honestly. So yeah, TLDR, if your brain is messed up because you've been watching a lot of Netflix or scrolling a lot of social media or eating a lot of junk food or whatever else you've been doing, you need to do dopamine fast. Basically, you do nothing, absolutely nothing for 24 hours. So your dopamine level drops all the way down here. And so work is will actually feel enjoyable now. Yep, that's it. That's all I wanted to say here today. And to those of you that have stuck around so long, first of all, I'd like to thank you very much for actually watching this video. It might feel a little low effort, and it's pretty late at night, and yeah, I just had to get a video out to not go bald because I'm supposed to upload a video every single week, and I'm so sorry for not uploading earlier, but I just kept pushing it off until I'm literally at the last second. So yeah, I'm not gonna take up too much time here. But, leave a like, subscribe, whatever. I don't really care to be honest, but anyways, peace.